In this chapter, we're going to explore different methods for slowing down and speeding up your clips. And in this movie, we're going to start by looking at how to work with creating no motion at all through creating freeze frames. So there are several ways to create a freeze frame, so let's go over these. The first method assumes that you want to turn a current clip in the timeline into a freeze frame. So take a look here. I have 3 clips stacked on top of one another, running dogs, and I want to compose a graphic where I need these to be stills. So I'll do this 3 times, and I'll start with V3 here. I just want to park on the frame that I want to freeze. So how about that one right there? And then I'll select the clip, and then right-click, and choose Frame Hold Options. And in this menu, you can choose what you want to hold on, and I'm just going to choose Playhead, so where my playhead is parked, and I'll say OK. And now you'll see that V3 is frozen in time. We'll do the same exact thing on V2, so I'll hold on that frame there. I'll select it, right-click, and choose Frame Hold Options, and that's frozen now, and we'll grab V1 as well, and same thing. There's no keyboard shortcut for frame hold options, so if you do this a lot, you'll probably want to customize your keyboard. Okay, so now we have our 3 still images. Now let's come down here for option number 2, and that's if you have moving video and then you abruptly want to change to a freeze frame at a certain point. So I again have a stack of images here, and let's say that we want it to play until the very end, and then we want to freeze on the footage. This time, I'm going to select the clip, and actually I'll back up just a little bit, we'll have a little bit more freeze frame, and I will right-click and choose Add Frame Hold. All right, so at this point, it added a cut, and then the last part is a freeze frame. I'll do the same thing here, right-click, and Add Frame Hold, and here as well. Okay, and then if this is too short, you can, of course, trim your freeze frames however you like. So I can trim them out. You can also make them shorter if you like, but I'll go ahead and trim these out like so, and I'll play. Okay, and now I'll come down here, and option number 3 assumes you want to insert a freeze frame at a certain location, and then hold on it for a little bit, and then go back to your moving video. So I'm going to play this, and let's talk about what we want to do.
They are the only dog with a double suspension gait, where all 4 feet are off the ground when they're extended, and then when their legs are together, their feet are also off the ground.
All right, so what I'd like to do is freeze on those 2 moments, where the legs are extended and off the ground, and where the legs are together and off the ground. So I'm going to play forward.
Only dog with a double suspension gait, where all 4 feet are...
How about right there? Okay, and then I'm going to select the clip, right-click, and I'll choose Insert Frame Hold Segment. So it did hold.
Where all 4 feet...
All right, so we're holding here, but we also have a break in audio. We'll fix that. Before I do, I just want to talk about trimming this. If you want to trim this in and out, you probably don't want to use your traditional trim tool because that'll create a gap. So just switch to your ripple tool, keyboard shortcut B, and then you can trim that in and out as you want. So I'll go back to selection tool V, and I'll zoom in a little bit here, ++, and let's just grab our audio and move it back over, like so. Okay, and now let's do the second part of this. I'll keep playing.
Where all 4 feet are off the ground when they're extended. And
now let's find a good moment for the other piece.
And then when they're in the...
Maybe about right there, and I'll select it, and then right-click, and choose Insert Frame Hold Segment, and then move my audio back over as well. All right, let's check this. We might need to trim it.
Dog with a double suspension gait, where all 4 feet are off the ground when they're extended, and then when their legs are together, their feet are also off the ground.
All right, not bad. Maybe a little bit of tweaking, but in general, I like that. And then finally, just one more thing that I wanted to remind you of that we covered in an earlier chapter, and that's how to export a freeze frame. Before we did it with the source clip, but you can do it in the timeline as well. I'll go ahead and just find a moment that I would like to export. How about that right there? And I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to press Shift-E. And this is going to export a frame or a still image. All right, we choose our format, we choose where we want it to go, and then if we check this box, then it's going to be imported back into the project. I'll say OK, and here is my still, okay, so I can edit with this, and then I also, of course, have it here on my desktop. Okay, So adding freeze frames is pretty easy in Premiere Pro, whether you want to freeze a clip, add a freeze frame at the end of a clip, insert a freeze frame inside of a clip, or even export a freeze frame. Play around with how you might use freeze frames in your own workflow.